Here in Massachusetts, it's a very good time to be in the marijuana business. Pot is now legal for adults, and the unwieldy bureaucracy put in place to launch the new industry finally seems to be getting some footing. Not so for the state's nascent hemp industry, which is related but distinct, and as Adam Reilly tells us, currently in legal limbo.
Don't be greedy.
For a small farm tucked into an Amherst backyard, Julia Agron's operation is impressively varied. There are 3 goats, 12 chickens, a half-dozen quails, and 200 hemp plants at varying stages of growth.
And clearly some of them are like super happy and some of them are like, ooh, you pinched a root. We can start trimming some of these bottom leaves away to make sure that we get good airflow.
For the record, hemp and marijuana are basically the same thing. The big difference? Hemp contains a lower level of THC, the compound that gets you high. But according to Agron, its other advantages are legion.
So first of all, I legitimately believe that hemp can save the planet. Hemp sequesters carbon when it's growing at astronomical rates. If you turn hemp into, for example, hempcrete, you're literally looking at a building product that continues to sequester carbon.
That term you just heard is hempcrete, as in concrete. And yes, it's a real thing. What's more, Agron says hemp produces cannabidiol, or CBD, which is known to reduce inflammation, pain, and anxiety.
For personal use, it's a really important plant for human beings to work with.
When she licensed her farm with the state, Agron thought she'd be turning these plants into a range of CBD products, from hemp buds to CBD-infused gummies and pet snacks. But then, a few weeks ago, the state departments of Public Health and Natural Resources upended those plans, warning that it's illegal to sell hemp flower and CBD-infused food and beverages.
Last year, there were 14 licensed hemp farmers or processors in Massachusetts. This year, there's about 104.
And, says Agron, almost all of them want to sell CBD-based products.
So people who've invested in equipment, people who are investing in farming operations, it just created a lot of confusion and uncertainty.
And highlighted some deep governmental ambivalence about this plant. The Massachusetts House just passed a bill aimed at boosting the state's hemp industry. And last year, President Trump signed a sweeping farm bill that actually legalized hemp as an agricultural product.
A really tremendous victory for the American farmer.
But right now, Agron isn't feeling victorious.
Massachusetts has chosen to have a protected cannabis industry, regardless of where federal regulations on cannabis are right now. At this point, we haven't made that determination about a hemp industry. Treat it like an herbal product and, treat it like an agricultural product.
Adam Reilly joins me now. Hey, Adam. How you doing? So I'm not clear on this thing. If I just saw Donald Trump, if hemp was legalized in the 2018 Farm Bill, why can't hemp farmers sell whatever they want to sell, whatever products they want to sell?
It's taken me days to work through this in my brain. Hemp is no longer a controlled substance, but the FDA retains the authority to regulate cannabis plant-derived entities like medications, anything else that contains that. And the FDA actually sent out a couple reminders earlier this year saying, hey, we just want to point out that just because this is now legal does not mean that you can do whatever you want with hemp. You can't put it in food unless you clear it with us first, for example. So I think that's why the state came out and said, hey, everyone, cool your jets here, because there's only so much pushback you can engage in against the feds, right? We're pushing back when it comes to marijuana, and I think the state's being a little more retiring when it comes to
Okay,
hemp.
that's confusion number one, relatively clarified. No, you did. I get it now. Let's go on to confusion item number 2. If the state says it's okay to do other things with hemp, like clothing and hempcrete, I've never said that word before in my whole life, I want you to know, and I bet you didn't know it either. Why doesn't the Agron just do that?
I think ultimately it comes down to money. I mean, what she'll end up doing, given this gray area that she's in, I think she'll make a bunch of topicals, which you can do. That apparently is legal. But what she explained to me is that from her vantage point, if you're going to sell hemp for fabric or for hempcrete, if you're a small farmer like her competing with these gargantuan hemp farms elsewhere in the country, it's just not, it's a losing proposition, essentially.
I only have a couple of seconds. Is Beacon Hill going to fix what ails this thing or no?
There is a bill that's been filed that would essentially undo everything the state just did with the rollout of these guidelines. But again, I'm not sure how much the state and the governor want to push back against the feds.
Fair enough. Adam, thanks for the explainer and the piece. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Hempcrete.